It may look like toothpaste, but this 3D printing technology is spitting out a 1,900 square foot house. The concrete foundation, interior and exterior walls, and utility conduits. This is the final product.
We're trying to build houses in half the time for half the price.
New York-based SQ4D printed the model home in about 2 days with barely 3 workers, and it's cheap.
Our profits will be higher, and we will be able to show that with more projects that we do.
How do you sell a 3D printed house?
I'd like to think it sells itself.
What is the weirdest thing anybody has ever said to you when they walk into this place?
Oh man, is it plastic?
The company now has the permits to build on this site down the road, the first 3D printed home for sale to the public. 1,500 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, listed at just under $300,000. That's about half the price of a comparable new home in the area.
The offers are in the thousands. We are getting, people are seeing the price across the nation and loving that.
It's out layer by layer by layer, 2 inches thick.
Potential buyers like the Johnsons from Kansas City are already lining up.
We've been looking since September of last year, and a lot of the homes in the 2 counties are just impossible to find anything at this price
and this quality.
So this is the result, the raw result of 3D printing. It's kind of like concrete corduroy, but if you don't love this look, they can smooth it out for you and make it look just like a regular wall. But for the home builders, this is a real game changer. Right now, they're up against a severe labor shortage as well as skyrocketing prices for lumber, and both of those are combining to just make their costs really, really difficult right now. So this could address both of those. Back to you guys.
Yeah, Diana, that's amazing. And the argument now largely seems to be price for 3D printing and what it can do in real estate. But 3D printing technology should allow companies to create shapes, perhaps do things with engineering that are impossible under traditional methods. Do you think that there's a premium end of this 3D printing and construction market?
Absolutely. In fact, we were talking to the builder about what the outside of the house could look like, and he was saying that you could put literally any image into the 3D printer and customize the outside of the home so it would look like shingles or it would look like a different type of wood. You could even put your face on the front of the home if you wanted to. So the possibilities are really endless with the technology. It's just going to be a question of what the buyers want and if the builders really, really buy into it.
Not my face. No, thank you. But point taken. Diana Olick.
What if
There's a lot of buzz around self-driving cars, but autonomous driving technology could revolutionize a different industry first.
everyone's talking about self-driving cars, and rather than starting the 51st self-driving car startup, what if we apply that same idea to a more tractable use case, which we believe to be construction?
Unlike cars functioning on city streets, autonomous tech is at a point where it can be safely integrated.
Construction sites are more systematic and controlled than public roads are. Construction is more conducive in the near term to the rollout of autonomous equipment.
And the introduction of automation in construction could have a profound impact on an industry that has been slow to adapt.
The way we build today is largely unchanged from the way we used to build 50 years ago. And so there has been a certain level of stagnation as far as the technological innovation goes in the industry.
A lot of these projects go over budget and over time. One of the big benefits is just making sure that you get things done in a defined amount of time with a more predictable schedule.
You can have that one person having the productivity of 5 machines. And so it starts to scale pretty significantly.
This is very hard work on the body, and we've seen that 1 out of every 4 workers tends to end their career earlier with injuries.
Construction's a massive industry that hasn't benefited from a lot of the latest technological advancements we've seen in the world. And so we believe that bringing digitization and automation into this industry will really transform how it works.
Alright, Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Makakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutation to all the brothers and a few sisters that's out there, unto the Israelite foreigners, for the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Shalom, in the Hebrew, which means peace. Just a quick show through the spirit, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua. As you can see, seeing that thing on World Star, how the new invention of making houses 3D printers, and what caught my attention, other than the how cheap it is, because it's not the only thing that slack. Yeah, let me start it like this. The industry, the construction industry, is like the only other forms of means of making money, a good amount of money for people to make on their own. All right. Yes, you work harder, but the hours that you make and the money that you make, you could live off of that. And what Esau is showing in his displaying is the lack of empathy when it comes to the form of how people are going to receive that, to make money on their own. Okay, and that's a great lack of empathy, because this man doesn't care about anything. Everything about what he's trying to do, he's trying to get rid of a lot of labor work. All right, which labor work would be considered everybody who has a skill set. And now the whole industry is changing. It's changing for the worse for everybody. Okay, when the scriptures tells you, matter of fact, I'm gonna start with that one. Isaiah 19 and 16 says, in the day, Isaiah 19 and 15, neither shall there be any work for Egypt which the head or tail, a branch or rush may do. All right. Matter of fact, I'm gonna start at 14. Slakia. Isaiah 19 and 14. The Lord have mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. And we know what that perverse spirit is. That perverse spirit is the spirit of homosexuality. All right. You have demonic forces that's running things, people that's in power, that truly is oppressing the people. And this, what are we seeing right now? The change of the guard, the whole lockdown, and so forth, and the pandemic, and we're seeing a great change that's changing right before our eyes, and it's not for the better for the people. Okay, they want to get rid of the masses of people. It says a perverse spirit. It says, and have caused Egypt to err, which means error. All right, and Egypt is America, and every work thereof. So that everybody have app-based jobs. It's like the best industry to be in, because you work your own hours. You know, you do what you got to do on your time. But that industry itself is going to be the next major target. Although it is the future, but is a target. And since this pandemic, a lot of people been losing their jobs left and right. And one of the main industry is what? Construction. Construction is one of the main industry, unless you're part of a big job. All right, which you heard from the second video, what that man said, which really got to me, like, wow, these people, they want some fuck shit. And they're basically saying there's a lot of wasted man hours. Now, I myself work construction. All right, I haven't worked construction in a while, but there is certain jobs called general construction where there is a lot of time that you don't do nothing and so forth. So what this devil is trying to do, he's trying to monitor every man's work ethics and how much he can make off of you. Then there's a lot of dead time, all right, within an 8-hour shift, but you get paid decently. Well, what if they start taking away the workers to make up all the time that was lost, and more buildings are being built up higher? Okay, that destroys the whole entire labor, right? If you have a skill set, getting paid X amount of hours more than the person that have a college degree, that you should feel good about, because you coming home, you be able to pay off whatever you need to be paid off. You just got to go out there and work. And the thing about our industry, it's not guaranteed that you will get a job, a long job, all right? A whole bunch of stuff. So the laborers, the unions are soon to be out, because everything's going to be replaced by robotics. And brother Locksmith, I put up the farming industry and how the undocumented immigrants would come and so forth, and you have to go pick up the immigrants. You don't have to worry about nothing. You just get this robot, and it's gonna pick the fruits or whatever you want them to pick, and that takes, and the farmer is all happy. But then the farmer has to know how to do maintenance on his own thing. But what does that do? That get rid of all the people that's used to working with their hands. All right. I bring all that out to say that. It says, in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit, neither shall there be any work for Egypt. And that's literally, all right? Like the scripture says in Sirach, the 12th chapter, which I'm going to get, all right? And the grind should be low. It says, which the head of or tail, branch or rush may do. So it doesn't matter if you're a CEO of a company or super, or the average low-level worker, there ain't gonna be no work for you, because the way the industry is going, this is all part of the green movement. This is all part of the new industry that they're trying to establish by getting rid of. You see what Biden did, and that's another prime example, when he signed his executive orders. All right, with a stroke of a pen, they had a whole industry of the piping industry, and all those people one day was promising jobs and so forth, and the next minute they're all unemployed. And the sympathy that the White House shows is, well, they always could try to get back into this new industry, which all of that is a farce, because the whole industry that they're trying to establish, you need to have, according to them, you need to have a proper education. And who got time if you know how to be a welder, to weld certain pipes and so forth? Who has time to go back to school to get paid less, not more like you was paying before, getting paid less, and spend more time to go to work for someone? So the Esau has completely destroyed the industry as we know it, man. And this is all part of the curses, man. And one of the main things, matter of fact, we get to Luke 19:13. It says, "Thou shalt not defraud thy neighbor, neither rob him. The wages of him that is hired shall not abide with thee all night until the morning." And that's something that they all don't practice. You go out there, you bust your ass for certain people, they're supposed to pay you right away. Well, it doesn't happen. You get taxed. It doesn't matter if you make $50, $60 an hour, 40, 30, whatever, because every state has a different bracket for specific jobs. Okay, certain industries, if I'm not mistaken, probably crane operator out here was like $70 an hour, but they get lesser hours, so that's how they balance the sheet, because they don't call them, they don't have them come to work all the time. Okay, and then some of them don't work all year round, so there's some type of balance. But what happens? Everything's not balanced no more. All right, and they robbing people, but not giving them the proper money that they need. This whole industry, this whole system is corrupt. Okay, this is why America must be destroyed, man. And we already see where everything's turning to. Proverbs 22:22, it says, "Rob not the poor because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate." And that's what they're doing. All right, you don't get paid your money that you're supposed to get properly, and now they're taking all the ways of people of lives, man. All right, they're taking everybody's livelihood away from them. And it may not be a big deal for some, but it's a big deal when you look at the bigger picture, because every man's livelihood is about to be taken away from them. All right. Ecclesiastes 12. I'm just want to go to the point. Right. And 3. "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong man shall bow themselves, and the grinding cease." And that's what's happened. All right. They trying to revive the economy, but that whole pandemic has crippled the whole entire industry to the point of nobody wants to go back to work. Now they're gonna have to try to force people to go back to work to get paid less money when everything else is skyrocketing, because inflation is about to take place. It says because they are few, and let's really think about it. out of all industries, construction should be one of the things that's been left alone. Now here in the city, the roads is horrible still, and they're still building, but all the building that they're building is less workers. So the industry is leading to less workers, more work, less workers. And that house, which will take months, maybe years to build a house, takes, what it said, under 3 months, a printed house. Yeah, it's not looking good. It says, and those that look at the windows be darkened, and the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low. And that's a fact. The sound of the grinding is low. So now they're trying to cripple the whole industry because Esau, this devil, wants to keep all the money to himself and make people live horribly. And it's not the first. And there's another way they build up skyscrapers. It's like a matchbox, so to speak. It's like a puzzle, a giant puzzle. So all they gotta do is use a crane and just slide the things right in. Just slide windows in, slide certain things. So what's that industry? Mason tenders. All right, they running out of jobs, big jobs, so to speak. All right, no longer getting skyscrapers. This is before all this happened. So the industry was already changing, and a lot of non-union jobs was taking a lot of skyscraper jobs, but they paid them less, and all they doing is just robbing the people. All right, and that's what's heading to America. So those that look at the windows and thinking like, oh, you know, everything's gonna go green and we're gonna do everything right, and this is a terrible move on their part because, well, it doesn't really matter. America's gonna be destroyed. But you see why America needs to be destroyed, and why idiot decides to print out a house. How's that is gonna withstand hurricane winds and so forth? All right, and everybody's fleeing the cities. Manhattan, Brooklyn, everybody's leaving New York City. So this is, man, they really doing a number on the minds of the people. I'm gonna end it off on this. James 5:1 says, "Go to now, ye rich men, weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted, and your garments are moth-eaten. Your gold and your silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you." So everything that they have gotten, the elites, has gotten by rape, robbery, and thievery, even to the point of what? Read on. It says, "And shall eat your flesh as it were fire. You heap up treasures together for the last days. Behold, the hire of the laborers." All right, when we all know what's a laborer is a worker, your average worker, somebody that goes to a supermarket and they cashier, they consider to be laborers as well because they're out there physically doing something for ends meet. Okay, so the workers, all right, all these people, this whole entire economy, the way it's built upon a lie, and now they're trying to rip all these jobs away from the people. Who's gonna? You have to go to college or some type of school to help build up a 3D print house, because nobody was taught that. Only a few people was taught that. So you just defraud a whole bunch of people for no reason. It says, behold, the hires of the laborers who have reaped down your fields. And another thing, before I forget, not only do you work and you make money for your pockets and so forth, and you pay your dues and all this other nonsense, but also for Social Security. They take money for Social Security. They pretty much rob you before you even get your check. And now that's going to be taken away from you, because where are they getting all this money from? So all this time people have been working, thinking that they're working for a futuristic thing, is just to get by. All right. a main thing that got, working out here is you make money just in order to go back to work. All right? It's nothing but a goddamn trap. And it says, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them who have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth. And you kept back the money by fraud, man. You defrauded everyone of their finances. Now you want to take away their ends meet. So now everybody's going to become a welfare case. This universal base income will come to fruition. All right? And Lord willing, we get the hell out of here before before this become like the Jetsons. All right? So with that being said, I hope your brothers edify. Shalom to the elect in the nation of Israel. Shalom.